Today I will be presenting my proposal for chronic absenteeism in elementary school. My study will deal with select the 15 students from Lincoln Elementary School that have been chronically absent in kindergarten. So those 15 students will be part of a study that will be part of a report that will be condensed at the end of the semester of their second grade year, prior to them going into ACT Aspire testing in third grade. The problem that we're having with chronic absenteeism is we have to find out what's affecting these students. It affects the students beyond their academics, by saying it affects them beyond the academics. If you have a group of kids that are chronically absent, and when they become adults, it can have an effect on their work life, their home life, some of their morals and values, and it also affects the people around them, because those people are affected too. So if you have somebody that don't work so hard in your neighborhood, then it's going to affect your neighborhood and the value of the neighborhood, and their morals are not like your morals, so it kind of affects everybody. When they talk about the effects of academics, the study shows that students who are chronically absent in kindergarten, they are not very successful, and they have a high dropout rate in high school, and they're less likely to graduate. Some of the variables that create chronic absenteeism for children, sometimes they don't get any sleep, the parents don't have a way to bring them to school, or parents have a late night and just don't want to get up and bring them. So a lot of things can affect those kids' attendance. But when we talk about kindergarten, most of it is sole responsibility of the parents, getting those kids up and getting them to school. Chronic absenteeism affects the kindergarten students' development. Kindergarten is such a critical level for kids in their development, mentally, socially, and emotionally, because that is where they start most of the foundation, and they start hanging around other kids, and they really need that time to be structured. And if they fail to develop that structure in kindergarten, they're kind of lost already when they're trying to get older and stay in the system for 12 years. My hypothesis statement: kindergarten students at Lincoln Elementary who are absent less than 5 days during the school year are more proficient in reading by third grade than students missing more than 5 days. A lot of my research showed that the students that were absent for 5 days or more, they struggled on the reading part, with the exception of about 4 or 5 kids. They were successful on the reading, and most of them, I went back and looked at some of their AR stuff. The ones that were chronically absent with the really good reading scores, they did really good on AR, so they were doing a lot of reading outside of school. The definitions of absent: not being present at school, whether it's excused or unexcused. And one thing, when you consider chronic absenteeism, is different. It's different because students are out for different reasons, whether it be due to illness or other reasons. Average daily attendance, percentage of enrolled students who attend school each day. When you say students attending school each day, it can kind of be a misconception of how many kids you have present that day. Because when you start looking at the percentages can still be high, even though you have 20 kids missing from school. So it can be viewed as a negative judgment, because the percentages are high, but the absenteeism among a group of students don't reflect that percentage. Chronic absence refer to students missing an extended period of school over the course of an entire school year. So if a kid missed 3 days a month or 2 days a month, then that kid is going to, at the end of the school year, that kid is going to be considered chronic absent, because they missed 10% of the school year, at least 10% of the school year. My literature review, attendance can predict future achievement and graduation. Like I said in the beginning, when the students attend school daily, you know, they have a higher success rate because they're there. They develop the structure. They put in a lot of work, and they just tend to do better. Students chronically absent in kindergarten and first grade are less likely to read proficient in third grade. That goes back to the testing methods of the ACT Aspire. A lot of the kids that took the ACT Aspire struggled on the reading part. The literature shows that a lot of them did really good on the math, but they didn't do good on the reading, and they did not do good on the writing. But by third grade, looking at the list of kids that I had, they did not do too good in the reading category. Chronic absence is hidden by high elementary school attendance rates. Once again, that goes back to that average daily attendance. And average daily attendance, a lot of research shows that schools get funding off of the average daily attendance. So when the students are absent, but the percentages are high, then it's a misperception of the school is doing well, but you still have 50 kids absent a day. So if you have a lot of kids, and if you have 90% looks good on paper, but it don't look good for the classroom teacher, because they have to go back and reteach a whole lot of stuff when the kids fall behind. And that's another thing about the kids being absent, is the teachers have to move around and try to make every kid successful in that class, even though that kid is absent. Chronic absence is more troubling for poor students. And by saying poor students, we're talking about the income of the students, their household income, things like that. Because if those kids don't have the same home life as someone else, then of course they're not going to be motivated to be successful in life. And those are the things that makes it hard on everybody, because the people that have a career are going to be the ones taking care of these kids that didn't have anything in the first place. So, as a study, it is more beneficial to try and help these poor kids be successful and come to school every day, so we don't have to handle the burden of these students as they get older and become citizens in society. Early warning system helps improve attendance. A lot of the research I looked at, they have early intervention programs to where student attendance was monitored weekly, and when students was out, parents were notified, school personnel was notified. Even I received a good thing from Dr. Hudson, and she said, just call before school starts and make sure those kids are up and ready to go to school. That way you can try to prevent them kids from being absent before it ever gets started. My action plan will be to identify the students that are chronically absent. I will be the attendance monitor, so I will track these student attendance. I will do it twice a week to make sure that these kids don't have a pattern of being absent. I will record the data of the students' pattern. I think that's the most important thing, is trying to get a pattern on these students, making sure that they are coming to school every day. Students will be rewarded for attendance. I mean, we don't want to say that students should be rewarded for doing something they're supposed to do, but the reality is, if I rewarded these students for coming to school, then it's helping them more than it hurts them. So, rather them being absent, at least they will be here to learn, and to kind of cure some of the problems that we're having. And at the end, all the findings from the study will be put in a written report. All the students' data will be gathered, put in a written report, and it will be presented at the end of the graduate program at Jacksonville State. At the bottom is the Plan 2020 for Lincoln Elementary School. where it need to be as far as percentages on attendance by 2020. This year, and these numbers are accurate. This year's what we have right now, so it's 94.49%. By the end of the year, this is how we should progress. And by 2020, we should be looking at 97% attendance rate. Any questions? Need some questions?
I have one. So you're studying kindergarten kids.
Studying kindergarten.
Okay, my thought is that, does your research show about the fact that for a lot of them, this is their first exposure to community kids, so therefore they have more sicknesses, things like that, you know, because a lot of them have been, you know, maybe kept in private care or whatever, like Aiden was. He was in private care, so when he came to kindergarten, it seemed like he caught everything. So does your research talk about that? And then the fact that the kindergarten children, like you said about the parents, the kids, you know, our kids in the elementary ages can't help if they're late, they can't help if they're absent, they can't help if they get here without money, snack, or anything, because they're just children. But so how does your research talk about those two things?
A lot of those